Hi, I'm Kimberly, and I'm going to talk to you about PTSD and anxiety and its relation to ego parts. You might not know what an ego part is, but if you're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, you've probably been living with one or many for quite some time. When something happens to you in life which is really quite overwhelming, at whatever age, but especially when you're quite small with no resources, a part of you takes on the responsibility for dealing with whatever pain, upset, or anger you feel at that particular time. A kind of imaginary friend moves in close to you and says, "Okay, I'll take that. Give me all that pain, give me all that upset, and I'll look after it for you." And as you get older, these parts stay inside of you. And either other things happen and that part gets bigger as it assumes more responsibility and harbours more of your upset, pain, or anger, or you end up with multiple parts of different ages inside of you. And as you go forward in life, these parts become more entrenched into your body. Imagine someone taking a Polaroid image of you at a moment of trauma, showing the expression on your face. And then that Polaroid image is stuffed inside a cupboard with an emotion attached to the bottom of it. You'll be fine if you're able to shut that cupboard and keep it shut. But if many traumatic things have happened to you, that cupboard starts to get a bit crowded. And whenever something happens in your life to trigger a memory that your body remembers, it is those parts which are remembering, even if you don't. The rush of emotion they feel can force open that cupboard, and you will suddenly feel those emotions, possibly completely out of the blue. And as we get older, the volume of emotions and Polaroid images in that cupboard is expanding exponentially. And in the end, physics alone says it will come to a point where the cupboard can't hold them anymore. And so it just bursts open. This is when PTSD or anxiety really takes hold. When all those emotions, all those feelings, everything you've ever experienced comes out at you all at once. And suddenly you're experiencing not just a touch of anxiety or a touch of depression you can get past, but you're experiencing a lifetime worth of depression, anxiety, anger, and everything feels completely out of control. You may no longer have control of your own emotions because the parts can assume executive control. And you may be walking along the street and see something that triggers one of those parts, and the part shoots up inside of you, behaving in a certain way, saying certain things, feeling certain things that are not useful to you. This might go on for an hour or a day or even a week. And as Freud said, we are not the masters in our own house. We're not riding our own horse. You may fight to push it back down because you can see the impact it's having on everyone around you. And you can possibly shove those parts back into that cupboard and hopefully get those doors closed. But for how long? This is when you need clinical hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy is a bit like a submarine therapy, which can reach those parts deep inside of you, so deep that you don't even know half of them are there. And whilst in deep relaxation, those parts become obvious to you. They can come out and talk to you. They may show you something like in a dream, or they may show you a memory that you haven't had up to this point. And the information will suddenly make sense. And you may realize why you've always got angry in certain circumstances. And over a few sessions of clinical hypnotherapy, all the hidden stressors will become obvious. And you'll see that the symptoms you've been feeling are like flags, neon signs begging you to understand. The dichotomy of ego parts is that while they want you to come down and talk to them and listen, they're also very scared that if you were to find out exactly how much emotion you felt at that time, it might destabilize you. So you end up in a kind of seesaw where you want to go down. The part wants you to come down, but the part actually doesn't want you to come down. Because then what happens next? What happens afterwards is all that emotion is suddenly let out, where you just end up in a puddle on the floor. Well, with deeply relaxed hypnotherapy, it's a bit like draining a swimming pool. You can either splash all the water out of the pool, making an awful mess, or you can just open a drain and let all that upset slowly leak away. Hypnotherapy opens that drain. And if any of this description resonates with you, do explore anxietynomore.world and see if I'm a good fit for you. You will never be told you are too broken to treat. I'm here to help.